What is going on, everybody? Hey, Facebook. It's been a long time, huh? I'm on a little early, still waiting for Lisa or Charles to come on so we could talk about this 50-year mortgage versus 30-year with actual numbers. Okay, I've been getting a lot of people asking me about this and comparing it to their actual situation. So I figured, you know what? Let's just go live and we could talk more about this, huh? So that's what I'm doing right here. So let me just make this go live real quick while we wait. Do a few things right here. Hopefully the audio sounds good. If not, let me know in the comment section below, please. Let's take a look. Oh, there's Lisa. Can you hear me, Lisa? I can't see you.
I can hear you. Give me just a moment, okay?
Okay, I can hear you now. I can see you too.
Okay, hold on.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Hang on for a second, okay? I'm not sure why.
Hmm? Something must be going on with her network. Let me just wait a second for her to come back on and we can talk. What about all of this? Okay, you know what? It's 12:03. While Lisa's getting her stuff in line, I'm gonna do a quick update on the market. Yeah, let's do that. Let me just share my screen. All right, let's see how the market is doing, shall we? While we wait for Lisa to come on and Charles. There's a chart, y'all. Oh, inventory is going slightly down from the last few weeks. Okay. So inventory is down 3%. New listings are up 10% from last week. Sold homes are down 26%. Pending homes are also down almost 4%. Okay, interesting. Listings are down overall But from last month, 13%. New listings are down 41%. Sold homes are down 32%. Pending homes are also down 7%. Interesting. Okay. Maybe a lot of people are removing their homes off the market. That's just what I think. From last year, same time, we have more inventory than last year by 23%. We have less listings this year than we did last year. Okay. Sold homes are also down this year compared to last year. Pending homes are up though by 7%. So yeah, I think what's going on is a lot of people are removing their homes off the market. Look at this. Because normally, if the numbers are down on the listing side, I mean, as far as active listings for sale, sold homes are normally up. But as you can see, solds are down, pendings are down, and inventory is down. So that could only be one thing. Sellers are removing their homes off the market. Maybe they're waiting until February. That seems to be that when everything starts flourishing again, starts getting busy again. Because right now it is uh, getting close to being winter and holidays and all that. So people are saving up for that. So that's what I think. Normally around this time it's getting slow. Year to date, inventories up. Oh, Lisa's back on. Hey, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, guys.
All good. You're good. I just figured I'd do a little bit of a market update while we're waiting for you.
Awesome.
But look at this, Lisa. Year to date inventory this year versus the last is up 23%. There's 7% more new listings this year than last by 7, but sold homes are down by a small percentage, 0.8% than last year, and pending homes are down. But look right here. I want to hear your thoughts, but why you think this is. This year, same time last year, we have more inventory this year, of course, by 23%, but we have less new listings, less solds, and less a little bit more pending, but sold homes are down and new listings are down. Why do you think that is?
Everybody's keeping their home, Tia. They're going to do their best to try to keep their home.
So I
That
was saying
is
earlier,
at the end of the year as well. So this is very normal.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was saying this month compared to last month, why there's less inventory, less new listings, less sold, and less pending this month versus October is because people are removing their homes off the market.
Yep.
Would you agree? Because normally when inventory is down, sold or pending is up.
So typically during this time of year, anyway, right, Chia, people tend to have other things that are more pressing. The holidays coming up, kids went back to school. It's the same situation every single year, and this is the reason why fourth quarter is usually the lowest time for buying and selling homes. So if there is availability and you don't have that type of hurdle as far as getting your kids into the right school, if you're a first time buyer and you don't have a family just yet, this is the perfect time to come in. Would you say, Chia?
Yes, if you are looking for deals, right now is normally the best time to get deals because sellers that put their home on the market right now, they tend to be a little bit more motivated because they really need to sell, whether they're relocating, downgrading. Speaking of downgrading or upgrading, they're probably selling their home and they need the funds from this home to sell to be able to move on and upgrade or downgrade to their next home because it's contingent. So you have situations like that right now, but for the ones that, are not as motivated, I think those are the ones that I was talking about earlier, to where they're removing their homes off the market because they're not getting their price for it. They're not as motivated. And so they're putting the homes up and they're removing it off the market and maybe deciding to resume after the holidays and New Year's.
Right. I
That's
agree.
what I think. Okay. Coolio. Let's move on to the next. Average price per square foot is slightly going up week by week, 4% that is. This month it's up almost 5%. But last year, same time, it's actually down. And year to date is also down. Interesting. Okay. Okay. That's average price per square foot. Okay. Again, disclaimer, just because it shows here from this point that it's 347 per square foot doesn't mean that it pertains to your home. Okay. Every home is different. This is just the average right now overall. Okay. I get people asking me that, so I figured I'd make that bring that up. Days on the market. Okay. Oh, look at that. It's going down. This week is 42 days. Last week was 49 days on average that it takes a home to go on the market to off. Okay. Interesting. Last month was 45 days. This month is 42. Last year, same time was 35. This year is 42. So see, homes are on the market a little bit longer. Year to date this year was 38 days on average. Last year was 29 days. I mean, that's 8, 9 days difference, right?
Right.
Not a huge deal. That's like maybe another extension, you know? So it's not that terrible. Homes are still flying off. Once they go pending, they are going quick. Okay, so 38 days on average, not long at all. Okay, it's not months. Average sold and average active for sale. So active price this week is up by 1.5% from last week. Sold is down though from last week by 1.6%. Now, month to month, this month, active price is up almost 2%, and average sold price is up 2.4%. Okay. Now, last year, same time, this year is down sold price by 6%, but active is up 0.6. Year to date, though, okay, this whole year, 2025 versus 2024 so far, active price is up this year by 0.6, and average sold is actually up 0.5%. Okay. So remember, I like to show this information because you don't want to just look at month over month and say, oh, see, it's down 6%. So my home or average home is down now by 6%. No, you got to look at the year over year. That's micro versus macro data. Okay. And look, year to date, 11 months worth of data from this year versus 11 month of data last year. And on average, sold price is up by 0.5%. Okay. So that's that. Let's look at the inventory. Monthly inventory. If you don't have any debt in America, are you a true American? Matthew. There's an inventory. Pretty steady. You see, it's trickling back down. It's between 2.4 to 2.6. Ignore this. We're still in the early month of November, so it's gonna state this right here. So I would ignore that. We don't have 3.5 months worth of inventory. Okay, it's probably closer to 2.6, 2.5. Because if you look for right here, right from October to September, the full 30-day mark of data, it's hovering around 2.4 months to 2.3. All right. Last year, it's 2.3. Again, I don't know why it says this, but it doesn't seem accurate. It's too soon in the earlier month of November to get that correct data. And year to date, 2.3 months this year on average. And last year was 1.8. See, so it's not that much difference. 27% difference. You know, yeah, we have been in the 2 months range for like a few months now. What? That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 months now, but it's not huge, it's pretty steady. When it gets closer to 4 to 6 months, then the prices will for sure be dropping a lot. Okay. Or stabilizing by a lot, which is what we're seeing right now. But
Right.
right now it's pretty stable. Just the right amount of inventory, just the right amount of buyers right now. Wouldn't you say, Lisa?
No, I agree with you on that. I think it's going to stay stabilized for at least another good 6 months to a year before we start seeing anything, drop. I feel like a lot of sellers are being a lot more lenient with credits wise, but as far as lowering their purchase price, I'm seeing a little bit trickle in, but if they price their house right, people are still getting over asking offers.
Yeah, they are.
Hmm.
Um, that is correct. If you know how to price your home correctly and market it correctly, you will still get multiple offers. Okay, we're showing you all these data right now, and it looks like everything is probably slowing down and all that. It is slower than last year, yes, if that's your reference point. But that doesn't mean you're not getting over asking price. If you're pricing it, doing everything correctly, listening to your agent, you will get multiple offers. Okay. My last listing that sold, we got over 5+ offers and they're over asking. We sold it for over $20,000 over asking, so that could still happen in this market. Right
Absolutely.
now, moving forward until January, it's gonna be a little slower than what we've seen in the last couple of months. If you're selling, you're wondering if you're gonna get the same trend. Probably not. Buyers right now, they already bought their home or they're already planning for next year because school season started already. Sellers, they missed the busy season right now. And the ones that want to get top dollar, their homes again are already off the market and they're probably going to resume the next strategy for February 2026 because right now we're heading to holiday season. Okay, so
Yep.
that's what's going on right now. Um, if you guys have comments about this data chart, let me know in the comment section below, and then we will answer them accordingly. But let me just go over to the uh, mortgage rates for today as of right now. Look at that, Lisa.
Hmm. Just what as we expected, it went up after the Fed meets, right?
Yep, it did.
I,
It did.
there's quite a few people that were on the fence with refinancing and whatnot, and they were like, "Well, let's wait until the Fed meeting." I was like, "Okay, I don't advise it." So those who listen to me ahead of time are, refinancing just fine. Right now, the next people who missed that boat are waiting for that to happen again. We'll see what happens. The Feds are going to meet again in December. And again, it's not that far away. I would highly recommend if you guys are on the fence of refinancing, definitely talk to your loan officer. Really, really look at that, in depth. If you're still saving money, if you're still saving a good $200 a month and you're waiting to save additional $20, it's not worth it.
Yeah, because you remember you have closing costs that's going to be incorporated,
Absolutely.
and you're restarting the term. It's
Yeah,
if you've gotten a couple years into your mortgage already of paying off those interests, you're restarting that into a 30 year.
correct.
Cool. This is the updates for you guys on rates and data. Now we can share today's topic now. 50-year versus 30-year mortgage, okay?
Oh my
Uh
goodness, what a hot topic it is. We've been getting so many inquiries on this.
yeah, I know. I made a few posts about this and
Yep.
some people liked the idea, some people didn't. But I think again, without really comparing numbers to numbers, it's gonna be very, very hard to decide if it's good for you or not. Everybody's gonna use this product differently. But this doesn't mean that these two are the only products, right? 30-year and 50-year. You still remember, you still have 10-year, you still have 15-year. I mean, some lenders are even doing 40 years, right?
Yeah, there's few that already rolled that out, and it's a non-QM
Hmm.
product. The interest rate is a little bit higher, so it wasn't really like what is proposed right now. So we compare apples to apples, guys. As the cost of inflation gets up, and I think the part where we as consumers automatically, when something new comes out, right, we automatically have this radar that says either it's good or it's bad. There's nothing in between, good or bad, or whether or not it's a good time for you to buy is very subjective. It's subjective in a way where what is your finances right now? What is your risk tolerance right now? What are you going to do with the additional money that you supposedly save on a 50-year loan? So realistically, you got to take a look at not just the math, but your math. Let's see if it makes sense. And that's why I'm here to do. I'm going to show you the numbers. There's no right or wrong per se. It's whether or not you're disciplined enough to add those extra payments. Okay. And the other caveat that you have to understand too is, as a homeowner, what are you looking to gain when you are becoming a homeowner? And most of the time, people will say, well, I want to build wealth through real estate. Great, wonderful. It's a great tool, right? But is it a great tool nationwide? Not everywhere. There's certain areas that are super duper high. And if you're trying to get in, like Silicon Valley or New York City, places like that, okay, it might take a lot longer for you to build that wealth. So you have to take a look at your portfolio and say, hey, is it more worth it for me to put it into real estate, or is it more worth it for me to put it in other investment vehicles? So I'll be more than happy to share that, Chia. And let's take a look at the numbers, yeah?
Let's do it. Waiting on you.
All righty.
At the end of today's live stream, we could talk more about what this program's, some of the strategies you could use for this loan, whether you're an investor or first-time home buyer or a seller, because there's definitely a space for this 50-year mortgage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so my screen is on, Chia. Let me know if you guys see it, because I want to make it as big as possible, so I'm not looking at my screen.
Yeah, zoom it in a little bit so that way the number figures could be a little bit more readable. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay,
yeah.
So we're going to compare this, okay? A $500,000 purchase price, okay? Let's assume you're putting 20% down just for easy math, okay, guys? So right now, the interest rate, I would say roughly about 6.25, okay?
Ooh.
Okay, all right. So let's compare this. On a 30-year loan, this is how much your payment is. It's almost $2,500, okay? This one is close to $2,200. So the difference is roughly about $282, and the annual difference is a little shy of $3,400, okay? Keep in mind, when you're making additional payments, again, you're adding 20 years to this loan, okay? Which means annually, this payment, okay, is roughly $26,000, which means if you're doing this an additional 20 times, okay, you're paying another $500,000. So technically, your $500,000 house costs you about 1.5, okay? Okay, that's a lot of money, right? Well, let's go ahead and go into this chart. So I use this calculator because it's easy. This is the S&P 500 returns, okay? Let's just say, let's go back here. Redo the numbers a little bit. Okay, side by side, you're saving $282.98, okay? So let me go do that. Okay, I'm gonna plug this in, and let's just say what happens on the first 30 years, okay? This is what your amount is. So if we take the 613 amount, okay, move this a little bit on the side so I can see it, and I can plug it in easier. Okay, so realistically, in 30 years, okay, this is the life of your loan. This is what you would earn interest. So if you are disciplined and you say, hey, well, if I want to stretch out that 50-year just to make it a little bit more comfortable, just so I can have a little bit more cushion in the event of, because I don't know where my job is going to take me. So these extra payments, where can I put it? You put it into something that's earning you about 10%. And this is the S&P 500, you guys. But if you were to put it in a Roth IRA, it is non-taxable, okay? So in 30 years, you would have earned $613,000 versus saving yourself $523. Is it worth it for you? You definitely answer that on your own. Now, because this is a 50-year loan, if I put in 50-year, look at the difference here, guys. Just by putting an additional $282 on a monthly basis, and if it's 50 years, this is how much you're making. So if I take that number, okay. Okay. This is the difference of what you're earning, what you're giving up. Gia, what would you do?
It depends.
right?
Because so, like I think some people, they look at these numbers. Can you go back to that S&P 500?
Absolutely. So here's
So
the thing, you guys. This is all about discipline. Okay. If you're saving that much money, but you're utilizing it for coffees every single day, you're utilizing it for, it's like, oh, it's only $283. What's the difference? This is the difference. This is the
yeah,
difference. And
I
if you're
don't.
talking about
Yeah,
generational wealth, okay, let's just say, for instance, you don't get that this time around. How long would that amount of money, okay, take for you to actually build your first $1 million? Okay, so 30 years wasn't doing it. Let's see 35. In 35 years, not only if you did the 30-year loan, okay, then you wouldn't be able to save up this amount, okay, unless you had something on the side to be able to help you with that. So in 35 years, even though you haven't paid off the house, you've already made that $1 million over here. And again, the Roth IRA allows an individual to put $7,000 a year. This is less than that. Okay. And if you're husband and wife or two income household, you can do 14,000. It's going to take you a lot sooner. Now, compound interest, the reason why I wanted to show this to you, okay, side by side, is compound interest when you're paying debt works against you. But when you are utilizing it as an investment tool, it works for you so much more. So do you see how, like, from 30-year, it's not there yet? Okay. It's a little over $500,000. That's it, which is a good amount. Don't get me wrong. And if it's tax free, how amazing is that, right? Because that's 30 years in your Roth. Okay. Now, if it was, and if you invested earlier, especially if you invest in your children, okay, what a huge jump on something that's pretty much the cost of most of one of our utility bills. So ask yourself, how terrible is this 50-year loan if it allows you the ability to invest in something else and earn your own compound interest elsewhere?
yeah, I think again, going back to those numbers, it looks great, right? If they
Mm-hmm.
discipline, but I think the average
Correct.
American, the average person,
The key is the discipline.
emergencies happen.
Yeah, the key is the discipline. But let's just say, for instance, even if you did half that amount, Chia, okay? Let's just say you did half of that amount. Let me read.
Yeah, I think if the individual is disciplined, it's
Absolutely.
great. By all
Huge
means, that's way
tool.
better because you're saving more money, you're building for long-term wealth. But I think things happen in life to where some individuals will need that money at a certain time, and then now they have to pay tax on it because they took it out before retirement age, right? And then it
Correct.
gets tax on it, and then some of them, now that they're saving the money, are they really gonna use that 280 a month savings into putting it, investing it? Most of the
Correct.
time, they're not. On average, they're not. They're gonna go spend it. They're gonna, and so that's the hard part. Is sometimes people need to be forced to be in a situation to where they're forced requirement and situation there is putting them in a better situation long term. For example,
Absolutely.
if they're forced to pay a mortgage now, then they're forced into that loan, that mortgage, then they have to make the payment. Otherwise, they lose their home. They can't provide shelter. They know that every month they need to save that amount to pay for the mortgage so that they can have a roof over their heads for their kids, their family. So it's like a forced savings account in a sense, right? Because they're paying it down and they're
Yeah.
building equity. Yes, it is longer in the 50-year versus a 30-year, but you're forced into making that payment now versus if you're saving that every couple $100 a month, automatically already the average person, they know they saved it, they're going to use it.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like when you say good or bad, it
It's
just
the
depends.
psychology thing.
Exactly. How disciplined are you? Because people are more inclined to pay for their debt but they're not as inclined to pay for themselves. So when you invest, you're paying yourself. If you think about that, and really,
Mhm.
let's just say you did $100. Okay, Chia, just like you said, if you need it for an emergency, totally understandable. You should have some emergency on the side. Okay, but let's just say you only did 100,000 in 30 years, you would at least have over 200,000 in that 50 years just by doing half that much. Okay, you would gain 1.5 million. So either way, just $100 a month, okay, invested well, and that's what you have. And again, if you do it in a tax um, uh, sheltering account, that's all tax free. So if you can do that, I would say, hey, the 50-year loan, I wouldn't say no, it's bad all the way. No, it's not. You also have to take into account, is rent going to go up or is it going to go down? In your
Mhm.
area, if you are able to buy right now, if rent continues to go up, you're throwing all of that away. It doesn't matter what type of interest that you're paying. Okay, if you're paying, let's say, let's use a simpler number where it's okay, well, I can't afford to buy because the monthly payments on the $500,000 house, okay, is roughly about, if we're doing a 50-year loan, is $2,800. Okay, so $2,800, but let's just say you're renting that amount already anyway, that money never comes back to you. Or even if you're doing it a little bit shy, let's just say, well, okay, well, I'm only paying $2,000 a month right now. Okay, so $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year. $24,000 a year, multiply that by 50 years. You're already paying somebody else $1.2 million. So if you're able to invest the other $800 that you would be paying for a mortgage, okay, then absolutely, if you can do that, yeah, maybe home ownership is not the best plan for you, but again, it's more of what you're disciplined to be able to do.
Yeah, and you know what this kind of brings me back to?
Hmm.
So, I had a few people commenting on my past posts about this topic, and they're like, "Man, 50 year, you're gonna be in jail to the bank for a long time. You're never gonna really own, and especially
Right.
for your kids." And I would like to say this, or some people would say you're giving up your equity because within the first 20 years of a 50-year mortgage, you're paying barely a dent on your principal. And I will say this, it kind of makes me think about that program where it's a dream for all. Remember the dream for
Hmm.
all,
Hmm.
where you're sacrificing your equity,
Correct.
you're compromising it so that way you can get in the door of home ownership, right? I'm not saying that program is horrible or bad. It's got its pros and cons, right? And what did most first time home buyers say that was a biggest pro for that program? It was to get them in the door of home ownership, even
Correct.
if they had to sacrifice their equity, right? Their future equity.
Right.
A
So when you
50-year
sacrifice
mortgage program is similar in that regards to where it if you wanted to be able to afford a payment and it helps in this situation, 200 to $300 a month, is that enough to get you in the door to now you're a homeowner?
right,
Yes, it can be, or maybe it can't. Maybe that's
right,
not big enough savings for you to get in the door. But for some families that I know, that is a huge difference. They just want to get out from their landlord's home and have something that's their own. This might be something for that family that is saving that $200 to $300 a month on a
right.
mortgage now, and now it's
So
theirs. They don't have to pay a landlord. They became a homeowner now. So that's how I look at it. You can't really just bash on these programs that come out because it's opportunities to
right. It's
promote
creating
home
more
ownership.
opportunities. You absolutely said that. Right, Tia. It's creating a little bit more opportunity because it's making a little bit more affordability, right? And in certain situations where it's very, very unfortunate right now, but the average American is leaning more towards closer and closer to living paycheck to paycheck. It really is,
Hmm.
you know, a sad
That
time.
gap is getting bigger and bigger.
Correct. So let's just say, for instance, okay, there's a lot of people, as you can see, the inventory is lower and lower and lower because not very many people are selling because there's only so much land that's left too. Okay. So let's just say, Chia, where you're at in life right now, right? And it really depends on your age, your risk tolerance, and age makes a huge difference of what your risk tolerance truly is. How many more years do you have left to be able to actually physically work, especially for people who do, manual labor. It's very, very hard on the body, and so on and so forth. So let's just say, for instance, okay, and because back in the days, our parents, 30-year loans, that was fine with them because they were going to keep the houses forever. That's how they built generational wealth. That's how they're going to give it to their kids. So let's say, for instance, you have this loan that's 50 years. And I was like, well, you're going to be shackled in this debt prison for 50 years. That's true. That's one way to look at it. Another way that you can look at it, I was like, hey, you're jump starting this loan early for your kids. How about that? How about we reframe that and say, okay, I'm going to get this loan for 50 years, Chia, but I'm going to hold my kids accountable for it. When I will this house to them, they only have 20 years left of this loan by the time, things happen, right? So they had an early jump start instead of this 50-year loan. That's probably, if it's going to be implemented and more people get used to this idea, well, then, now they have a 30-year head start on their peers. So why would that still be a bad thing, right? So bad or good is irrelevant. It's more of whether or not it makes financial sense for you, whether or not you see, okay, well, I'm only paying, again, let's go back to the scenario of I'm paying rent for $2,000. Okay, $2,000 today. And we already know, even in our area, $2,000 is still of a deal. You might be able to get a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Yeah, Kia?
Mm-hmm.
10 years from now, is that $2,000 going to be the same?
Nope.
Exactly. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from
Yep.
now, 50 years from now, how much is that going to increase? So if it continues to increase, or the landlord sells their property, and now you got to go out there and look for rent that is more, the average rent for that area, and you see, oh my gosh, my landlord has been super kind to me, which is a wonderful thing. Okay, I know quite a few landlords that have allowed their tenants to basically live the rest of their life through that. But then what happens to the children that also live with the parents in that rental property? They don't have that type of leeway, and the house gets sold. They go out into real reality and see, okay, the average rent is twice as much. Why didn't I buy a house before? So you guys knowing the numbers ahead of time helps you not just curb inflation, but also plan your life to be, okay, now that it's more flexible and I have a little bit more wiggle room a month, okay, then does it make sense for me to buy that slightly bigger house so that my family could last in this house a much longer amount of time? And here's where that catch is. If that is the mentality, well, then the next group of people who buy this house on a 50-year loan may be keeping those houses a lot longer still too. And now inventory is going to get lower. So we're going to go back to what we spoke about in the beginning, where we're talking about how like the housing market is going to either lower or stabilize. This is the reason why I feel like it's going to stabilize and it's actually going to increase. I don't see it going back down because, again, inventory continues to be low. This 50-year loan helps incoming home buyers, but people are not going to refinance it unless they're in a dire need to refinance and put themselves in a 50-year loan. Most likely, people are going to get a home equity line of credit, a second loan instead, because their first loan, they're not touching that.
Yeah, I think whenever a new program like this comes out, Lisa, it's always gonna create like mixed emotions, right?
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
because to the people that are used to a 30-year mortgage, this is crazy. More interest payments to the banks, uh, and then to the people that are new to this space, a 50-year might be what they were hoping for.
Yeah. I mean, people
And
were talking
like,
about, can we get a 40? Can we get a 40? And now they jump started and did a 50. And then
right.
we got two polar opposite kind of
Yeah,
reaction.
and like I have some investor friends and they're like, man, I love this 50-year mortgage because then with the investor, they when they refinance their properties, their flips, the payments are lower for them. So now they're cash flowing more, and
Yeah,
they don't really care if the interest rate is higher for the first couple of years because they're not paying it. The tenants are
right.
paying it for them, right? And
Yeah,
so, like, investors are keeping these properties for the long haul for tax purposes, right? So
right.
then they're really planning on keeping it for a long time and passing it down to their children. So like it doesn't really bother them that much more, So everybody is utilizing this new product that's going to come out, if it comes out, in a different manner. And if you know how to leverage it correctly, then I think it can make sense, you know
Absolutely. So here's a fun fact, okay, Chia? The 30-year mortgage started in 1930. That was 95 years ago. So we're talking about close to a century ago. And why was it created? It was created because most of the time before
for
that,
debt.
the loans were only 5 to 10 years. Okay. And as the price of homes continued to increase, they did this to make it more affordable for Americans, and more Americans continuously through generations become more homeowners. So think about that, guys. In a whole entire century, we finally changed that to another, 20 years. Whereas before, if you think about the 30-year up to a 5 to 10, that's 3 times as much. So now it's like
Yeah.
not even double that. That's to help with the inflation, that's to help with affordability. So if it works for you, great. And for investors, that's the key point. Investors, people who aren't going to hold on to it for a long time, they're looking at the cash flow more than what the loan is. They're leveraging that loan, right? They're not shackled on that debt. They are leveraging that debt. There's a huge difference between leveraging debt versus being tied down to debt, right? If this is and when you're tied down to just that debt and this is all that you have, and understand that if you utilize the 50-year mortgage to maximize your buying power again, that's where you might get into a sticky situation. Okay, so if you know that you have that 50-year loan and you utilize it for the amount that you would qualify for a regular 30-year loan, you probably would have a much easier time because you know now you have that cushion, because that debt to income ratio wise, you have that little tiny cushion for your emergencies, even with that $100 that I priced out for you guys earlier so that you can see you have a little bit of a cushion, so you don't have to worry so much to be shackled into that debt. That amount that you're saving, you put it into another investment vehicle and you'll be in a lot better situation. Take that out when you need it, but you spending on a vacation, you having to do a wedding, any of those things, those are should be savings on the side. Those are not life emergencies. Life emergencies are life and death emergencies.
There you guys go. How do you feel? Like, do you think this is going to create more buyers in the market?
I absolutely think it's going to create more buyers. The problem is we've been having so much buyers in the last, we're talking almost 20 years now, Chia. So I'd like to see some incentives for the sellers too, so that that supply and demand can be more evened out, and this product could be more usable. The product is here to help, but if there's not enough inventory anyway, what's the point, right, Chia?
Yeah, that's true. Inventory is always going to play a role.
And it's going to come back to be like, okay, well, I couldn't get the home that I want because I'm priced out. Okay. Most homes that I want are in the 550 to 600 range, which I keep getting priced out at. So now with this loan, I'm able to qualify for a little bit more. Again, sticky situation, you guys. If you're maxing your situation out, okay, you might find yourself confined to that debt, shackled to that debt, and not actually really leveraging that debt. But if you know you have income that is going to increase, our state workers, our healthcare workers who have annual or biannual raises, and you know that's going to continue to increase, don't wait for that to happen, because by the time that does happen, the home prices are also increasing as well. So we
Mhm.
got to make sure that, hey, if the math makes sense for you, whether it be a 30 year, a 15 year, a 50 year, okay, doesn't matter what that is, we got to make sure, you got to make sure as well, that your loan officer, your realtor, is actually giving you the advice to protect your asset, not just to have this one transaction.
Yeah. Lately, I've been kind of talking about taxes to individuals, and
Hmm.
I might want to bring a tax expert on the show to talk more about this 50 year too, because you're paying more interest, and everybody knows that's own a home. Your interest and your property taxes are tax deductible,
Correct.
So this could be a huge thing for that purpose too. But I don't want you guys to take my word for it. I want to see what a tax expert would say in regards to something like this, because if you guys understand leverage, that's huge. Take advantage of leveraging, and you're really good at leveraging. That'll make you a ton of money in this world. Two, if you know how to work tax strategies to help you keep more of that earned income, that's another big thing, okay? And and if you're a American, right, kind of like what Matthew was saying here, if you don't have a debt in America, you're a true American, LOL. And like just joking aside, it's every American have debt. Some of the biggest uh wealthiest people out there have a lot of debt, but they're not worried because they're leveraging that debt. Okay. So part of why they leverage, because it's a tax advantage. Those two go hand to hand.
Yeah.
So that's why I think if you're looking at this program as like a tax advantage strategy, it might be able to help you even keep more of your earned income. It's not
Yeah.
about how much you make, it's about how much you can keep. Because we live in a world to where you have to pay Uncle Sam,
Right.
whether you like it or not. You have to pay Uncle Sam. Unless you're working under the table and you're not getting nothing reported, then by all means, do what you gotta do. But to the majority that have earned income that's reported, W-2, 1099, whatever, you gotta pay taxes on that. You
Correct.
gotta pay taxes on that. So any strategy you can implement to be able to keep as much of that earned income, shoot, utilize it. I'm learning so much about taxes now because of my businesses and all that. And
Mhm.
aren't you like upset that sometimes you look at your pay stubs or your check, and you already know that half of that is going towards Uncle Sam. So some of those hours you worked
Yeah.
for free, it feels like.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
So maybe that might be another show, have a tax expert on and talk more about it.
Yeah.
That'd be
I'm
interesting, right?
absolutely. I'm interested in that as well, because if the same tax applies for a 30-year loan, which I can't imagine it not to be, Gia. But let's
Yeah,
just say
right.
applies, and let's say that this 50-year loan is actually open to investors as well, because we don't know if it is, right? And when it becomes more mainstream and whatnot, it helps investors to have a much more cash flow. And then again, then investors are going to want to come back in more so. Okay. Then you got the first time buyers. Again, now we're creating these things, which is great, but it's helping the home buyers. It's not giving that incentive for the sellers to want to sell. So now let's just say, for
Mm.
instance, if I had an investment home, if you and I had an investment home, okay, Chia, and we said, hey, we're not really cash flowing on this, but if we refinance it to a 50-year loan, now we are cash flowing from it. We are going to utilize the tax deductions from it, okay, to do that. And so if we had that and we reinvested that money into another property, or we reinvested that money into, again, an S&P 500, a mutual fund, a Roth IRA, whatever that is for our business. And if you had your own business, you can put it in a SEP IRA, okay, which allows you to even put more into it, which again is quite beneficial. So it just opens more doors for more people to want to buy. But what is the incentive for the people who want to sell? Because if I was already an investor and I already have my investment property, why would I sell then?
Right.
Okay. So that's where
There's
I
no
feel like
incentives.
this should have been tagged on. That's just my personal opinion, guys. When you open something for buyers, you got to open something for sellers too. So
I
let's
think
take a
I
look
think
at
it'll eventually get to that point,
yeah,
but I think it hasn't been a big enough issues to where that's an that's a something they want to focus on.
yeah,
So that's interesting, right? To where how we feel that they should give more incentives to sellers so that there will be more inventory, but it's not a focus right now. So that kind of makes me curious about why it's not the focus. Do you know what I mean? My conspiracy side is coming out. So yeah, that's how I think most of the time. But okay, well, that is the topic today, Chi Chi fams. I mean, it's a pretty controversial topic. A lot of people can take this as a pro or as a con, but it's it's not a one-way street. You could pick and choose how you want to leverage this, because like what we were seeing in 2020, there was people that was buying new builds, right? And they were selling them the next year because the appreciation on it were so huge that they just wanted to make that quick flip. This might be something
yeah,
that would have worked for that. They just wanted to get in the door so that they could seal the deal for that new build for today's price, and then hold it for 2 years and then flip it. So this might be utilized for that person. Or so
right.
there's a lot of ways you could look at it. That's why we wanted to show you guys the numbers today so that you can make that decision for yourself, because everybody has their own ideas for these programs. It's not anything different from the people that had a 15-year, 10-year, and a 30-year. So by all means, hopefully what we shared today was going to be is helpful, and it could help you guys be more informed about the decision when it comes to buying your home. But other than that, I think that's it. That's all we have for today. Unless there's something else you want to talk about and share, Lisa.
No, I think that's pretty much it. Again, guys, it's not good or bad. I know sometimes it feels controversial, but it doesn't have to be if you know really the numbers. Does the number make sense to you? That's at the end of the day,
Yeah,
that's the question.
who cares what your friend or family member says? Like they might
Yeah.
be a Dave they might be a Dave Ramsey follower. To where
Hey,
they
I mean,
only
I
believe in the 10 year,
Dave
15
Ramsey too.
year.
Yes, I do appreciate Dave Ramsey too, except he's a little bit in La La Land in places that are high
But
high
again, like he grew
yeah,
for him, he grew up in the 10, 15 year, and again,
yeah,
his advice is great. But if you're investors and you're very savvy, you don't listen to Dave Ramsey advice anyways. So uh it's again, it's not pros or cons. I mean, it's not a bad thing. But there's always pros and cons to it. So,
absolutely.
and the same thing we're talking with you guys today. Hopefully we gave you guys enough pros and cons to where it help you guys to decide on if it's good for you. But if you guys have more questions about this program, the 50-year, when it rolls out, you guys are more curious because you guys have more questions, just reach out to me or Lisa, and then we'll do what we can to best answer it. But too many people were asking about it. That's why we wanted to come live and talk more about it. But that's it. That's it, right, Lisa? That's it.
Yep, that's it. Hopefully, you guys gain some information on that.
All right, Chichi fans, we're gonna let you guys go. Catch you guys on the next stream. Peace out.
Take care.